Hello everybody. Again, this is this side BN Ghadai. Today I have come with another concept, average propensity to save. So far we have discussed average propensity to consume, marginal propensity to consume. Today average propensity to save. What same way as you define average propensity to consume? Same way, same line, same definition, average propensity to save. Average propensity to consume is the ratio of aggregate consumption to aggregate income. And here, why is C plus S? Obviously, aggregate saving or average propensity to save is the ratio of aggregate saving to aggregate income. Simple. It is a ratio, simplest definition, and you convince yourself and you can remember this as it is the ratio of aggregate saving to aggregate income. And that is why average propensity to save is written as APS is equal to S by Y. Here APS is average propensity to consume, average propensity to save, Y S is saving, Y is income. So average propensity to save is the ratio, simplest. See, is the ratio of total saving to total income, aggregate saving to aggregate income. That is, suppose, for example, suppose say in assigned income, suppose Y is 50 crores and consumption is 10 crores. Consumption is 10 crores. Then you are asked to find out APC. So if Y is 50 crores, consumption is 10 crores, so naturally saving will be 40 crores because S is equal to Y minus C. Saving is equal to Y minus C because Y is equal to C plus S. So that's why S is equal to or saving is equal to income minus consumption. So if your income is 50 crores, consumption is 10 crores, then saving will be 40 crores. And now you can find out APC, APS is equal to the saving by income, that is 40 by 50. And find out 40 by 50, 0.8. So which shows that 0.8 APS means 80% of the income is being saved. This is average propensity. 80% of the income is being saved. And coming to the properties of this average propensity to save, and you will get many of the properties of the average propensity to save as opposite to average propensity to consume. The first one is that average propensity to save can never be one or more than one. Question is, you can ask why average propensity to consume cannot be more than one or equal to one, and because of the average propensity to consume, the average propensity to save cannot be more one or more than one, because average propensity to consume can never be 0 or less than 1. So because it is always positive because of autonomous consumption. Because of, so at the initial stage, if you see the APC at the initial stage before the break-even point, the APC or the consumption is more than the income. That's why the APC is greater than 1. And if the APC is greater than 1, the APS naturally will be less than 1. So that's why the first property of APS we find that it can never be more than 1 or more than 1 or equal to 1. Second property, APS can be 0. And where? Now APS is 0 where? At the break-even point. At the break-even point, APS will be 0 because at the break-even point, Y is equal to C. Consumption is equal to income. Because consumption is equal to income, so saving is 0. So that there the APS is 0. The APS is 0. Average propensity to save is 0. That is the break-even point. And the third is APS can be negative or less than 1. That is true. In the initial stage, that's why when you draw the saving curve, we start from the negative area to Y-axis. So in the beginning, because of autonomous consumption, we have this saving, and that is to negative saving. And because of the negative saving, the value of APC can be negative or less than 1. Okay. And another thing, that the average propensity to save. Now you have a comparison. What I told, average propensity to consume. As income rises, average propensity to consume falls. As income rises, average propensity to consume falls. But here APS, as income rises, average propensity to save increases. You see the difference. As income rises, increases, what happens? The APC falls. But what happens to APS? The APS rises. That you must remember. This that you must remember. And we'll have a clear distinction between APC and APS later on. So but here, you just see the explanation. The APC and the APS comparison you are getting. When the income rises, when the income increases, NASA income increases, what happens? Now the APC falls. But what happens to APS? The APS rises. That you must. I mean, this is all about average propensity to save. It's a very simple concept. There is no, but it is not very difficult to understand. And once you understand, you can remember forever. If you do not understand, you cannot by heart it. It's a simple definition, simple thing. APS is the ratio of aggregate saving to aggregate. What does it indicate? Now it indicates the percentage of the national income which is being saved. What does APC indicate? APC indicates the percentage of the income which is being consumed, and the rest is saved. So APS indicates the percentage of the NASA income which is being saved. That's why if you write APC CYY, you write APC CYY. So you write APS is equal to S by Y. It's the ratio of saving to income. It is the ratio of aggregate saving to NASA income, aggregate income. This is what all about average propensity to save. Thank you.